This video joins the two northern countries right before the Red invasion. Red's industrial zone sits safely on the western river. Blue's industrial zone is on the eastern side of a large bay. Tucked in the center is their capital. Red's infantry is mostly held back at the start to deal with any unrest. After this subsides, they too would be sent to the front for a second wave. Red's tanks are the tip of the spear, 3 in the north, 4 in the south, designed to surge across the eastern river before Blue's reserves can mobilize. Blue's infantry is scattered across the front. The tanks are even more scattered across several reserve groups. They would meet the coming invasion completely unprepared. With that quick overview, the invasion begins. The offensive got off to a great start, meeting little resistance at the border, driving a deep wedge between the fronts. However, many bridges along the eastern river remain intact. Quickly, the failing border forces are reinforced with reserves to slow the breakthrough. Seeing the offensive fail, Red attempts to reach the river further south through the hills, but this is also ground down. These failures lead Red to bring in reserves from the home front. These forces see their first successes in the south, forcing large parts of the southern group across the river. The Free forces are then sent north to restart offensives. First a northern push to pin, and a second to trap and cross the river. The first attacks go off, but are quickly bogged down. The tank drives goes off better, breaking towards the shore, trapping 4 divisions against the coast. But the front stabilizes and the 4 divisions escape. Red tries to break the line before the new divisions arrive, but by the time the attacks begin, the Free divisions are already pouring through. Still, they cross the river under heavy pressure. Red is quick to counterattack across the river, but the bridgeheads hold. Orders arrive from the capital. The bridgeheads must be defeated before Red can break out. They organize a landing force while Red prepares to break towards the capital, but the landing is quicker. They slam into the northern flank and together with a southern attack force the northern bridgehead to retreat. Then using the Free forces, they force the southern bridgehead across the river. It's a catastrophic defeat. Still, enough forces are salvaged to restart new offensives in the south. They are to break towards the city before turning north, cutting off the more inland divisions. The tanks quickly break the line, racing towards the river, while the second attack threatens encirclement. Blue's reserves are activated just in time to stop the advance as Blue's inland forces retreat into the hills. Red seeks to press their advantage along the fresh front line, but Blue is expecting this. They form a new rapid response reserve and fortify the new front quickly. Seeing the rapid building of defenses, Red's hand is forced. If they want to control the river, they would have to attack soon. Red's offensive plan is clear. The hills have already been fortified, but the shores are still weak. To bypass the heavy defenses on the hills, 2 spearheads are to break the shore quickly before encircling the inland armies. The offensive starts slow as they push through the heavily defended shores, but soon they break past onto the open plains. With the defenses broken, Blue orders a full retreat to the river. It is this quick response that saves the inland armies and averts a total defeat. Construction begins on a massive countrywide defense line, running from the capital in the north to the hills in the south. Red knows that the southern section of the river has little defense. They plan to pin down the river forces with landings before sweeping south, encircling them. All 3 landings succeed, but the southern landings face suspiciously little resistance. The tank landing is quickly swarmed by reserves. It turns out Blue knew this was the plan, and had told the southern divisions to retreat as soon as they saw landing. The tank divisions in the north had just crossed straight into a trap, taking heavy losses and giving Blue time to retreat back to their prepared defenses. Being stopped at the defensive lines across the front, a plan is needed to be made to break the line. Plan A is a third attack towards the capital. It's rejected for obvious reasons. Plan B cuts time, but the remaining bridgeheads would be painful to push past, so it's also rejected. Leaving Plan C, the long route through the south, often ignored by Blue Command, making it the clear target. First, a series of large airstrikes are conducted along the front line to weaken the defenses. Then the infantry is set in. Attacking with momentum breaks the line quickly. Blue reserves are sent in to plug the northern gaps, but Red moves north, forcing them to turn around. The reserves slow the advance shortly, but tanks flood in, breaking the line again. Seeing no other option, Blue liquidates the southern bridgehead to release divisions. This backfires as Red crosses the river in the chaos. Still, the freed forces finally put a stop to the breakthrough. With the front now open, Red looks east. Offensives begin there shortly, with 2 pincers forcing Blue to abandon a heavily defended city. Seeing the new situation, Blue retreats to more defensible positions. Red now seeks to secure its new winnings in the south with one last mass offensive. Red tanks break the line and drive south to encircle, but are slowed before the hills. An infantry push takes its place, but they're just too slow. A last-ditch attempt is organized, but they still slip away. It's those slipped-away divisions that end up stabilizing the line, allowing for counterattacks near the north. With the southern line broken again, a peace deal is sent pushing the border back to the river. But Red sees their new eastern holdings as non-negotiable, rejecting the plans outright. Speaking of those new eastern holdings, a fresh tank pushes to break north and finish those failed encirclements. It sees unexpected success, facing near no resistance and destroying 4 divisions. With such easy wins, another push north was given, and it struck deep into blue before finally being stopped by reserves. Now with the weakness on the east in full display, a new plan was brewing. One concentrated strike towards the capital to end the war quickly. The plan starts predictably, with a massive break in the line. At this point there was barely a line anyway. The tanks drive along the major highway towards the capital, but once they reach it, a massive counterattack pins them against the river. Watching the disaster unfold ahead of them, the remaining forces call for emergency reinforcements. Because Blue expected the tanks to surrender quickly, they left the way to retrieve them weak. The rescue force seeks to exploit this mistake and is planned to meet the trapped forces to their west. The trapped forces join up and begin waiting for the spearhead to arrive. Shortly, it does. The bottom 2 divisions meet successfully, but in their rush, a gap opens up against the 3rd division. Quickly, Blue floods in, trapping the 3rd division again. They hold on a little while longer, but seeing no attempts being made to save them, they surrender. The forces freed by this surrender slam into the exhausted rescue forces, turning them away from the capital. With Blue's forces all but defeated in the field, they're hanging on by a thread. All they needed was one push and the whole tower of cards would collapse. 3 armies would deliver this push. In the north, a landing to paralyze the industrial zones. Across the center, a main crossing to take the capital. And in the south, a pinning attack to keep the southern units in place. With all the pieces in place, Operation Final Strike is approved. In the center, landings take the beaches. They begin breaking towards the capital, but a large counterattack sends them back. Further east, the diversion attack has opened a gap to their west. They quickly exploit it, but are turned back too. So far, Blue's reserves have coped with the offensives remarkably well, but they leave the beaches underdefended. Once Red lands, Blue has to divert forces, giving Red a new chance. The new offensive overwhelms the defenders. Southern divisions are ordered to retreat towards the capital, but are overrun along the way. With the front collapsed, the southern front revolts and signs a ceasefire. Seeing the bulk of their forces surrender, and with all hope lost, the government follows shortly after, officially ending the war as a total victory for Red. The lands are annexed and an empire is declared, setting the stage for the ill-fated wars of expansion against the southern nations. But that's a story for the next video.